Saturday morning, just got to Sam's. It's 20 to 6 and we are about to head off for the lovely 7-hour drive to Scotland. The things we do in the name of the touring cars. Let's see how we get on. Right, it's 6 o'clock off the Saturday morning and it's time for us to head up north to Scotland with a couple of stops along the way. Hey Reg. He's not coming to Scotland. He's not an assistance dog.
He's not.
There's no assistance with Reg. He's barely even a dog.
So we set off on our journey then, as Russ mentioned, between 6 and 7 hours long, depending on how many stops we were going to have. The first stop along the way was going to be up at my dad's to drop off the dog for his special weekend away. But yeah, fairly nice journey. Good weather in the morning as well, if a little cold. Roads were nice and clear, which made the journey nice and easy. But yeah, here's the first leg.
Stop one of the day, get the hound hitched as it were, get rid of the dog, not coming with us. Hey Reg, time to go buddy.
So with the first hour and a bit of the journey complete, dog all dropped off, nice and safely settled in, we started the second leg, all the way up to Otley, just north of Leeds, to drop off a parcel for one of my customers at work, who very much appreciated the visit, and it was a chance to break up the journey where we had a little bit of breakfast. we didn't manage to capture all the journey on camera. Battery life on it wasn't as great as I was expecting, but we did get some pictures along the way, crossing the border into Scotland. So just over an hour left, and the weather has taken a turn for the worst. Now we're into Scotland, and we're going to swap over in the driver's seat. Legs were getting a little bit tired and sore, so Russ is going to do the last 100 miles or so. But very much looking forward to getting to Stirling and trying some gin tonight.
It's wet. Yeah, that's about all there is to say. It's cold. We've had a solid surface and got chilblains. So yeah, going well. 55 miles from Glasgow. We're about 71 miles from where we're staying. 47 more miles of beautiful motorway, English motorway.
Oh, there's more motorway after that, mate. Don't you worry.
Is there?
Yeah, he loves the motorway. And here we are then. We managed to get to our accommodation in Stirling without any problems. Made 3 or 4 stops along the way on a relatively good journey. No problems along the way, which is nice. And then as you can see here, our lovely accommodation that we were staying in for the next 2 evenings before we went out for a little bit of gin tasting in the evening. We then managed to move on to a lovely Italian cafe that we went to, which surprisingly, up in Scotland, they do good Italian food. Followed off by a little nightcap with some games before we went to bed, getting ready for the day ahead at Knockhill.
Morning, camper.
Morning, mate. How are you?
Yeah, you right, you?
Yeah, not too bad. Slept quite well. Woke up actually this morning. Lovely blue skies above us, thankfully. Although the weather forecast is set to change for later today.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hopefully we'll get a wet race, at least one of them today, because I think it'll make it a bit more entertaining. But yeah, getting cereal down the hatch this morning. And
On to your second bowl already?
Yeah.
Revision of health, you.
Cheerios are the best. But yeah, get across to the track, hopefully about 8:30, depending on the queues.
I mean, you're wrong, you've got shreddies. They're the best. They're knitted by Nans.
We get across to the track for hopefully about 8:30, depending on what the queues are like to get in, and then hopefully for a great day of racing.
Absolutely. I've gone for the more traditional route of coffee, porridge and a pretzel, which is so hard it requires basic dental surgery to eat. But yeah, otherwise, should be a good day of racing.
The journey to the track in the morning was a really nice one, actually. Good weather along the way, dark clouds starting to roll in. I may have forgotten my camera, which we had to go back for, but we'll gloss over that bit. And then we had to sit in, unfortunately, about 25-30 minutes worth of queues to get into the track. But when we got close, we could understand why, because it was like single file road in, and it's certainly an experience trying to get into there and into the fields that are on the slopes.
I give you a warning is that you have said consistently this season that Cameron is still the championship fight. Obviously yesterday, poor qualifying, lost it on his own, again for the second time this season, took it across the grass, damaged the car, unable to go back out and put a time, meaning he missed out the top 10 and finishes outside top 20, I think he's 23rd. Is he still the championship fight, or are you going to finally admit it's done?
Well, first of all, quite annoying. He was one of my tips for a race weekend. Race 3 could still happen, as we know. It's out quite back through the field.
And it'll be hard, won't it? It'll be hard.
Well, no, clouds. Will the rain make a difference? We shall see today. But I certainly think it's going to be a struggle for him, especially with Sutton on pole and Hill up inside the top 10, Circuiton inside the top 10, and also Ingram. So I think this could be a pivotal weekend for the championship, and we could see maybe one, maybe two drivers drop out of that title hunt.
I think that it was only really a 3.5 horse race anyway.
Yeah.
Camish was gone long ago in my opinion, but you will insist he's still there. And I think you're right. I think that the way Sutton's got that car looking, albeit it looks like he really is pushing to the ragged edge, so don't rule out a mistake by him.
Yeah, that's true.
But to be fair, in quali he can kind of take that risk because he's got a good couple of bank laps anyway. But yeah, I think that you're right. You expect Sutton to do well this weekend, and if he can pull away the gap from particularly 3rd or 4th in the title standings, then I think that that's probably them out as well as we count down the rest of the season.
Yeah, one driver that surprised me yesterday was Cook. I was quite surprised by how quick that Honda was. There's been talks on the grapevine that Barry Plowman is back engineering Rob Huff this weekend at Team Hard, so it'll be interesting to see whether that was a one weekend only thing for One Motorsport.
He was like, oh, for God's sake, this is getting ridiculous, just press that button and you'll get it working. Right, I'm off, neverly mind. I don't know if he's from Yorkshire, but I've decided that he is.
So it'll be interesting to see whether we see Hard carry on the form that they've shown on at least one side of the garage, and whether One Motorsport can also continue on quite well, because Moffat, home weekend, he got into the top 10 shootout yesterday, so it's interesting.
It is, and Hard, though so nearly, looked very good, and then didn't.
Yeah, changes in the weather yesterday certainly made it very interesting. I think it was just a little bit of a shame it didn't come, as we said at the time, a couple of minutes from the end of the session, because we could have seen some really interesting and different drivers in that top 10 shootout.
Well, it's darkened up a little bit. If I put on my sunglasses, the sun goes in, so we'll see what the race brings. There is the cloud cover, and we are, what, 16 minutes away, 8 miles away from the circuit. Dunfermline sign that's just to your right there. Yeah, let's see, let's have it.
Then once we were in the track, we went exploring really. We were quite surprised to see how small the paddock was, the fact that none of the actual garages in the pit lane were being occupied by any of the British touring car teams as we would normally see at an event. But we made our way through down to the exit of Duffer's Dip for the first race, which saw absolute mayhem once the rain arrived. Which you can see some pictures here of the before and after, and what an entertaining race to watch it was. You couldn't really have wanted any more for the first race up at Knockhill. For race 2 then, we moved on to the infield where you got a great vista all the way out the back of the circuit, seeing the cars go down, or the exit of Duffers, up through the chicane, and then coming round to the back end of the circuit. Was able to see all the way around there, which was really good. And you just caught the start line behind us as well. It's where all the hospitality was for the British touring car drivers and teams. So we did see a couple of them on their way over to and from the pits. But yeah, race 2 was a good one. Some good battles out front between Sutton and Hill. And for race 3, then we managed to get down to the hairpin under one of the covered canopies that they have, which I, for one, think is a brilliant idea, and I think they should have more of them at tracks. Can especially see why they've been put up at Knockhill with the amount of rain and weather that they get. You can really see the weather rolling in over the hills, and the rain and downpour that we got before race 3 was certainly extreme. We can see why it was certainly delayed, and then brought out some really good racing and some really good battles in that final race. Before a short trip back to the cottage, and then a very long trip back home on the day after. So yeah, our trip up to Knockhill was a very good one, and certainly something that I'd recommend. How about you, Russ?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was converted to gin, which I never thought was going to happen in my life. That was a win for Scotland. And yeah, Knockhill was a fantastic circuit. It really is brilliant on the telly, even better in real life. It's probably my favourite circuit now in terms of the ones I've been to.
Yeah, it is a brilliant experience. It is a very long way to go. Probably something that you only want to do every couple of years if you've got that 6, 7, 8, 10 hour journey to make. But something you should definitely do if you're in love with the touring cars.